Lisa, all right, there we go. Thank you. Welcome guests and visiting Rotarians. So we have somebody who's welcoming guests and Rotarians tonight.
There's no guests.
There's no guests and no visiting Rotarians. All right, well, let's keep on trucking then. Next slide.
We're working on it.
Okay.
We're having difficulties.
All right, well, welcome to everybody joining us virtually. Laura, Larry, Liz, and Eileen, I think we saw your shadow momentarily. So thanks everybody for joining. Oh, there's Eileen's shadow again. Hello. Thank you all. Let's keep on. Announcements. For those making announcements, please come up to the owl and share with what's going on. Next slide. So membership updates. Welcome to our newest members, Kelly and Ryan, and then Justin Riney King is leaving as life changes for him. So we have 61 active members as of the last board meeting. So next slide, unless anybody had anything to add. Happy birthday to Bradley Burke, Carissa Gadu, Brian Richardson, Brandon Yates, Morgan, and Ryan Bourne. So we have a few birthdays in May. I know we're behind a few here, but happy birthday everybody who's a May baby. Next slide. Happy Rotary anniversary to Alyssa, to Gibran, or Alyssa and Gibran for 7 and 3 years in a row. We're so glad you're part of our club. Next slide. For those who went to TriCon, you can see some wonderful pictures. I know we haven't seen Dustin Lukie around the club with his work schedule, but he was able to be our wonderful MC, which he is excellent at. And it was a lot of fun. So I don't know if anybody who went to TriCon wants to give a brief update, and then we'll pass it over to Eileen and Stephanie for Rotary Works.
No, so we can go to Eileen.
Yeah. Hi, thanks guys. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So it looks like in April, John McKenzie was named secretary. Janie Morgan has agreed to be president again for Rotary Works Foundation. And the First Light Daycare outdoor equipment under the First Lutheran umbrella was approved for a grant in April.
Awesome. Thank you, Eileen. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
That you and Stephanie are doing on the Rotary Works board. So, next slide. Home and service auction. I mean, if Bill comes offering a cake like that, I don't know how anybody could say no. Does anybody want to say a few words about their experience at the service auction?
It was a great event for all that attended. From what I've heard, this was a record year for them. They raised more than they have in years past, which was really awesome. And it was a really great turnout. So I encourage you all to go next year and beyond that. It's a really fun event.
We both, Jennifer and I both won a raffle basket.
We did, yes.
First thing I've ever won in my life.
What was in yours? It looked like coffee.
It was a quick trip basket, coffee, lasers, gift cards.
Did you get the 10 free car washes? I did. Nice.
What'd you win?
I got a doggy basket filled with like dog toys and.
Did you win last year too?
I kind of almost win every year. I buy a lot of tickets. That's all.
Well, thank you for sharing. It's one of my favorite events of the year too. So I'm glad everybody had fun and there was cakes and gift baskets and all that. So awesome. Next slide. Last call to order your raw t-shirts and look good while we're doing service, making an impact out in the community. Orders going tomorrow, $12 each. Marissa, anything to add?
Got it, Jeff. That's it.
All right, next slide. Is Lori in person?
I am here, yes.
Would you like to talk about Grow?
I guess I don't know much besides they sent out a schedule that they need volunteers at still. I think another email was sent out yesterday.
Today.
I know I saw one come through asking for more volunteers. They're just looking for different shifts for us to help out, basically wherever they need us. It might be carrying plants for people, it might be helping them pick out what they need, it might be carrying it to their car, helping them to the house, whatever. It should be pretty easy volunteer work, but they need more of us, so sign up.
That's it, Josh.
Next slide. Is Caitlin for some of the other service announcements here? Sorry, I'm kind of taking over people's slots.
Yeah, I can make an announcement. So we are doing Memorial Day flags as we do every year. It's the Wednesday before Memorial Day. So am I like too close?
It's not picking you up.
Oh, okay. Well, anyways, it's May 25th, I think, Wednesday. It's really quick. It's always a really fun, easy activity. And then we're also gonna volunteer with Juneteenth, or for the Juneteenth celebration in La Crosse this year. It's Saturday, June 18th. And I will be sending out emails for both of those events, hopefully tomorrow. So you can sign up. Memorial Day flags, you'll sign up on Club Runner. Juneteenth, we'll sign up on their directly with those guys. So keep an eye out for those.
Thank you, Caitlin. Next slide. Is anybody on socials? Otherwise, I can take it. All right. So we've got 3 socials coming up. Pettibone Patio, Thursday, May 19th. Rock the Rotary Year, Tuesday, June 14th. So that'll be our first meeting in June. And then we also have a Loggers game coming up on July 14th. And Rock the Rotary Year, we'll celebrate the starting of a new Rotary Year a tad early, but looking forward to it. And I think it'll be a lot of fun. It always is one of the highlights of the year. So next slide. So we don't have a drum, but we can, a drum roll. We have the results of our Shark Tank competition to share with the club. The competition was very tight. The results were very close. We had 2 excellent projects, so it was hard to choose as shown by the club. So Marissa, if you wouldn't mind going to the next slide. Our big winner is Beds for Kids by Steph Klein. So she barely pulled it out. We almost had a 50-50 split. But Steph will be working on completing the district grant application and moving forward. But thank you again to our presenters and everybody who attended the meeting and put your shark bucks into action to put our hard-earned funds out in the community doing good. So any questions or anything to add on Shark Tank results? Okay, next slide. So we have another exciting piece tonight. We have our next year slate proposed board of directors. So what we'd like to do tonight, and Marissa, let me know if I'm getting off track, but what we'd like to do tonight, you'll see the list of the proposed slate in whole, and the bold names are the ones that we've put that'll be new joining the board. So this has gone through our election committee. They've reviewed, and it's been reviewed by the board, the election committee has reviewed and approved, and then this has gone before the board, and now we're bringing the slate to the club as a whole. So my question tonight is if there's a motion to approve our 2022 to 2023 board of directors. No motion?
I can motion. Eileen.
Thank you, Eileen. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Jennifer Lukey, second.
Thank you. Very much appreciate it. This is so much harder online, so I appreciate your assistance, everybody. Is there any questions or any discussion? Otherwise, we will proceed to take a vote. Going once, going twice. All right. All those in favor, if you're in the room, please raise your hand. If you're online, either raise your hand or use an emoji. If in favor, please raise your hand. All right. Lisa or Ashley, do we have somebody that's counting?
I don't see any hands down.
Everybody's hand is up. But we have to have, like,
Any opposed? Any opposed? Same sign. I think we passed. We had a majority on. We had everybody online, and it sounds like a majority in the room. So, assuming that is working, because I can't. The camera is stuck. Congratulations to our new 2022-2023 Board of Directors. We're very excited. We're for the good things you're going to do, and we're so thankful for you stepping up to take on leadership roles. And we're thankful and appreciative of all our current board members for their service this year, and for our continuing board members who continue their commitment into the following years. So thank you again to everyone for all your service and all your efforts this year. Next slide. Today's program will be the Shelby Fire Department. So Marissa or Lisa, if you want to take over, since I can't see anybody, we're excited to learn more about the good work being done in our community with Shelby team.
Give us 1 second. We want to make sure we can get that.
It's not, we'll have to restart the meeting because I cannot, it says that there's no active meeting. I'd have to restart the meeting. I don't want to do that in the middle of this.
And it doesn't like just, if you
If I spin it, it stays on me.
In the interim, I work with Tony and he promised fireworks and burlesque dancers. So if he doesn't keep up with that promise.
I know.
Thanks, Laura. Appreciate it.
And you're welcome. I told you I would promise or I would follow through with my heckling. So here I am.
You're doing great.
Where do you want them to stand up here? Well,
Yeah,
it
we'll
doesn't
get
matter
you.
now, but I think
Okay,
up there would be better for everybody else.
We have the pleasure of welcoming the Holinka siblings, Tony and Kate. From the Shelby Fire Department. We've had some tragedies in the community, and so it's really timely and welcomed that they are able to come and share more about the Shelby volunteer program, fire department. I said, as somebody that grew up in Shelby, I am forever grateful for knowing that they're down the street to firefighter and EMS services. So Kate is, you can probably describe yourself better than I can, but EMS.
So I'm our EMS officer. Right?
EMS officer,
Yeah.
Kate Holinka, and then Tony Holinka is the fire chief for Shelby Fire Department. So without further ado, except Lisa, do you want to restart the meeting?
No, I got it.
You got it?
Do you want us up there?
Yeah, that would be
for
great.
cameras, or?
Yep, and we're like trying this new thing with the laptop and so you can see and don't have to turn around. The clicker should work, if it doesn't, there is the arrows there too.
All right, so yes, as Marissa mentioned, my name is Tony Holinka. My lovely older sister, Kate Holinka, is here as well. She's the EMS officer. I'm the fire chief of the Shelby Fire Department. Just kind of give you guys a little bit of update. We're going to talk about, what we do, different kind of skills we're trained in, and talk about what it's kind of like to be a volunteer firefighter. I always mention to new recruits that come in, new hires that we have, this position that they're taking over, you're incurring some stress, some undue stress to you and your families. You're going to go without sleep. You're going to be hot. You're going to be cold. But it is something that is rewarding and beyond anybody's expectations that you really have. And it's really hard to explain the rewarding feeling that I get, and I'm sure Kate gets, as we're responding to calls, helping individuals out. We get to experience some, as firefighters and first responders, we get to experience a lot of good in the community and see if we get to experience some of the not so good. So we can definitely talk about that when we talk about the good stuff, but we'll kind of open it up if you guys have questions or anything like that. Basically, I put together a slide deck to keep me on point and give you guys a little bit of a visual kind of the stuff we do with some of the people that we have. So again, our station's on 2801 Ward Avenue. We have two stations. We have the one on Ward Avenue that everybody's familiar with, that's been there since 1959. This fire department started in 1957. It had one fire engine. It was housed in a barn where Walmart sits right That was the original fire station for the town of Shelby. It had like 8 people and a refrigerator of beer. That was basically the fire station back in the 50s. So what's that? They probably, we still have that.
Probably
crock
the
pot.
original,
Yeah.
the original Nestle roaster is probably. Yeah.
Exactly. So we do have a fire station up on St. Joseph's Ridge. We put in a station up there about 15 years ago where we had members from St. Joseph's Ridge, because we not only cover town of Shelby, we also cover town of Greenfield, which is where St. Joseph's Ridge, where I live myself. So we end up having 2 people, two responders from 2 separate stations responding 2 calls into 2 different jurisdictions. Right now we have about 39 members that fluctuate beyond the year. We do have, I have one person's moving to Holman. They can't respond. Another person moves to Sparta. They can't respond anymore, so they're leaving the department. We also have other people that come in, new families coming in the community, living on the south side of the cross that have some available time that they can respond that way. But here's just a picture of our fire station there. As we see it right now, nothing's really changed since that was built in 57. Working on it, but nothing's really changed there. Again, here, I'm the fire chief. I was appointed fire chief March 1st of 2021. So I'm very new to being the chief. I was the assistant chief for about 7 years prior to that. Before that, I was the EMS officer. And even before that, I was way cooler and I was just a knuckle dragging firefighter. So it was really kind of cool. A number of years ago, I got my sister involved into it. She lives near the station too, and she has been, I call her the Charlie Daniels of the fire pump. She can drive it, she can pump it, she can do it all. She's also our EMS officer, in charge of a lot of our reporting and training that goes into that response as well, because part of the, we have our 2 separate fire stations, but we also have what we call home-based first responders. 72% calls of last year, the year before that was 78%, were EMS calls, medical calls, first responder calls. And that's common all across city, across Alaska, home, it's all the same. Basically about 70 to 75% of our calls are all EMS. So we have people that have medical bags in their vehicles and they respond right from their home. They live out in the town of Shelby. We can usually get there, it shortens our response time with that. I mean, I have one in my truck right now down the street. So if something happened, we're ready to go. But again, here we got another picture of me and my sister at a training burn. So
Yes. We had a lovely family donated a house that we trained in for several days and then burned it down at the end because that was their ultimate goal. They wanted it gone eventually. So we weren't just taking pictures in front of a fire.
yes, thank you for bringing that up. I was going to mention that. Yes, we've been lucky over the last couple of years where individuals have either an older house, older farm home that they want to destroy, and they say, why don't we donate it to the fire department? Last year we had one where we were able to train it all summer long in, and we ended up burning that down in October because it's not really fun to burn a house down in August. So we waited till October when it wasn't so hot out. So again, this year we're able to train in it. We have another home donated to us. We'll be training there starting in June, and we're going to have that, I bet you, for a full 12 months that we'll be able to train it. So it's really kind of nice where we turn into home renovators. Sometimes we're throwing in doors that don't belong in there because we've broken out all the doors training in it, because it's a lot of valuable training of forcing entry into homes, doing searches, cutting holes in the walls and the floors and the roofs, all that thing where you really don't get an opportunity to do all that often, but it's a skill that we need to stay sharp on. So it is a definite value that we have here. Like I said before, being the chief is it's a challenge. It's also very rewarding while we work with other communities and other members of our community. But you can see here, what I normally do now is stand outside without all my turnout gear on, and I have so many things going through my head. I have 2 clipboards in my hand. I got to keep them all on track. And then another photo of mine when we did a pinning ceremony. It was the first pinning ceremony we had as the fire department. Fire tradition says that either the spouse and the children of that whoever gets pinned gets to pin the badge and the lapel pins on. That was the first one we had ever done, and it was a complete surprise to me And all the chiefs from all the other fire departments in the county were able to make it there. And again, it was during COVID, so we're all masked up and everything. And now we can all be together and see each other's, what we actually look like in real life. Obviously, one of the things we do on the Shelby Fire Department is fire suppression. These pictures here are from a fire that we had a number of years ago in a storage facility right across the street from the Shelby Fire Department. So access to it made it very easily to get there. This is a fire where it ended up being where an individual was living in those storage facilities, was not paying his bills on time. They locked him out. He used a cutting saw to get back in, and the sparks from that cutting saw burnt the entire storage facility down. A lot of people lost a lot of things. I have had before, we had one person that had like their grandparents' bed that we were able to get out, and she was super happy about that, because when you have a storage facility, all the heavy contents in that fire kind of lends some difficult abilities to get into access to be able to get to where the fire is and where it's burning. So we were able to save some stuff for people, obviously not everything. We did our best, but you can see the heavy volume of fire, just the fire load in those buildings can be difficult to be able to manage. We also do a lot of trainings. We train on a lot of this stuff. The first and third Monday of every month, we send people to additional classes. If you join the fire department, you send to entry level A, entry level B, Wisconsin State Certified Firefighter 1, maybe 2 if we can talk you into it, and first responder. And we try to get those in the first year. So you basically turn into a part-time student, but it's all about firefighting and first responding. So it's all cool stuff. You're not looking at that. So,
And you don't have to pay for it, which is the big kicker for a lot of people. We hire on.
yeah, exactly. The fire department pays for all that training, and we do on-the-job training with our monthly training events. This here picture on the left-hand side here is we did it's called the dollhouse burn, where we set a small fire in basically a dollhouse, and we learned by opening up windows in the house, you can learn to see where the fire is going, so you can translate that into a bigger structure, and to be like, okay, that window's got busted open, the fire is going to head right towards that window. We didn't make sure that we can close off rooms on this side and maybe save some of the contents of it.
Which is a good reason why you should shut your bedroom door when you sleep at night, just so you know.
That's why.
If you ever, we learned a lot. I mean, obviously we knew this ahead of time, but learning and watching, stuff flow through, and even our training burn, like in this brick house in the right picture, shutting the bedroom doors, yes, you'll get smoke in the bedroom doors, but the bedroom doors that we did not shut were completely engulfed in flames, but just light smoke damage in the rooms that were closed. So another thing that we teach kids when we go to schools.
But again, picture on the right, another required structure that we had in the township. This was last year's required structure that we're able to train. Another good part about this training is live fire training that we're able to provide is we had West Salem Fire Department, Stoddard Fire Department, Campbell up on French Island Fire Department, La Crosse Fire Department was there.
Did not Alaska come to that?
Alaska Fire Department brought some people. So we bring in departments from there because it is so rare, but it's gotten to be the point where every year we end up getting a house given to us. So we've been very fortunate in that. I'll pass this over to my EEMS officer.
Okay, so like Chief said, and yes, I have to call him Chief.
Doesn't happen. I never asked for it.
So like Chief said, 72 to 78% of our calls are EMS calls, right? So a majority of the members on our department, we send through a medical class. They can choose to go on to further medical classes if they want. So we operate at an EMR level, which is just an entry level medical responder. We have a few EMTs. What's great is that, like Chief was talking about, how we, in the picture there, we're doing training. We do a farm training accident in the spring that's coming up. One of the doctors in the community has us come and do it out there on their farm, and they have the residents from Gunderson be out there so they can see, like a doctor sees what we're doing out in the field pre-hospital. And a lot of those medical students have no clue what pre-hospital care looks like. So it's training for us, but it's invaluable to those medical resident students.
So I know when they show up in the ER, they're covered in dirt and mud.
Yeah, right. and we're covered and everything.
Yeah,
So then, and then the picture on the right is more training. A lot of the 2 trainings we have a month, obviously we have fire and EMS, so we're trying to integrate both. So like next Monday's training, we're doing auto extrication. So we're going to make sure that we have like a medical aspect to our training where we're working on, you know, patients, but then also doing the cutting open the car safely and doing other things. So we try to make sure all of our trainings include some portion of that. We work with Gunderson. Dr. Eberline at Gunderson is our medical director. Awesome guy. They do quarterly meetings for us. Lots of training that they can send us to. Next slide, there you go. So all of us have, and prior to me, I mean, our past medical officer.
I was 21 years old.
Fair enough. So just
Other things were on
little incentive reward programs, you know, medical, some of the things that we see on medical, we're getting called out to someone's worst day of their life, right? So we just kind of do some little recognition events or, you know, different little things to kind of keep up spirits. We also do like critical incident debriefings. If something is like a mass casualty or something where one of our members are affected, we can bring in community members, therapists. What's the team called?
The critical incident stress debriefing team.
That we can bring that in so those individuals can talk to us. I do a little program there, the helmet. So you get the Star of Life if you successfully do CPR on someone and they survive. And each star is for someone additionally that you save. I just, that's my helmet. I have more stars on. Anyways, just little things like that are kind of uplifting things for the members of our department so they can be like, check it out, you know, like this is something we did. And that, what's the name of the group that came out and did the recognition for Andy? The cardiac.
Seven Rivers Cardiac Awareness Group.
Yes, so they come out every year, and if your department had a call where an individual was saved, you get a little pin from them also. So it's kind of like a badge of honor to collect these things. The picture on the right is actually Andy and his wife Kathy. Andy, this is today actually. Andy's wife Kathy messaged me. It's his 2-year anniversary of being saved. Andy had been playing squash all day long at the YMCA with some buddies and went home to take a shower, take a nap, and all of a sudden she heard him gurgling in the bedroom and he was going into cardiac arrest. So we got there right away. She had, I don't know how she found me on Facebook, but she somehow found me on Facebook and reached out to me and said, you know, I just want to let you know, thank you for everything, but 2 days in, Andy, they didn't think he was going to make it, and they were just, you know, making plans to end life. All, you know, the sad thing she was going through, just reaching out to me. And then 2 days later, she messaged me saying he woke up and he's off the ventilator. You know, so he came in to our station with her. He got to give us the little medals that we got from Seven Rivers Cardiac Association. So that's really cool. Like, we like doing those things for our members on the department so they can see that, you know, and Dr. Eberline is really good with, if we have a tough call or any questions or anything, we can message him and be like, hey, this went into Gunderson. It was weird. Like, can you help us understand what's going on? And not because we're being nosy, but because we want to learn more about if there's something that we could have done differently, or, so it's great to have that kind of connection. Oh, that's so much. And then last summer, so like delivering a baby is like the holy grail of EMS. So like, I was still working from home. Kelly, don't tell my boss about this. So I was still working from home. Kelly goes to work. And I know, sitting on my couch doing my work from home, and we get a page for a woman in labor, and it's like noon on a Monday or something like that. And I'm like, see you later. I'm hitting this. And you know, I respond to the station like most people do. I respond to the station, there's already one guy in the fire truck, and he sees me, he's like, thank God there's a woman on this call. Thank God there's a woman, you know, so, yeah, no, she was driving in from Genoa, her mom was driving her, and all of a sudden she was crowning. So they pulled off on the side of the road by the entrance to Goose Island, and we delivered a baby on the side of the highway, so. We all have, everyone that was on that call has a little stork pin. And we got a card and picture of the baby that we delivered, so it's those fun things that like really make it awesome to do stuff like that, you know? It's next for you. There you go.
Okay, awesome. Another thing that Kate had alluded to is auto extrication that we cover. We cover many miles on highways, so we do have accidents where we're going to need what you would see here on the right here, someone using the jaws of life, or the tools as we call them. They are hydraulic tools that we're able to displace dashboards, pull open doors, remove hoods. I mean, basically, once the car is in a wreck and airbags deployed, the door handles don't really work always all that well. So that is something that we do train on. Again, we did it last first training of the month. This next training, we're doing it again. So we try to do it once a year where we have a lot of availability at cars, because we have a tow service that lives up on Highway 33. And we basically got to give him a call, and he's like, where do you want them? Because he ends up getting us a bunch of cars and does all the work for him. So it's a really good opportunity for us to work together and even get some of our new people on, because that's always like, I've never done this before. You don't want the first time to be important. More things than one than that. That way we can get them opportunities to at least hold the tools. They're heavy, they're cumbersome, they're kind of a pain in the rear end to hang on to, but at least gives them the opportunity to use those skills. Other photos here, we do auto extrication, cars on their sides, cars on their hoods.
Cars in the water.
Cars in the water, all that's all the above. We end up having to deal with, and you can see the high-vis army there on the right-hand side. One of the highest mortality deaths of first responders is collisions alongside of the road. So it's where our high-vis vests. It's kind of a rule that we have on the fire department here, where we have plenty of them that we hand them out like trick or treat candy. So on the left here, you can see we have struts that we're holding the car up, so when we're working on it, it doesn't move. We've got to be, knock on wood, we've had a lot of success in cars on their side and in different orientations where we've been able to rescue victims out of there, because it does pose certain issues that we have to deal with just with that, someone upside down or on their side. We also do wildfires. Right now, we're kind of in a late wildfire season. I just canceled my burn ban this morning after the rain we got last night. We've had it on for a couple of days there. Everybody in the news is hearing about the wildfires out west. The amount of the 83 wildfires we have currently going on in Wisconsin right now. It is something that does happen. Around here, we're lucky enough to where we have a lot of farm fields and a lot of tillable land to where we're not going to see large, 70-acre wildfires. However, out west, it's a different story. You have hundreds of thousands of acres that could burn. But we do have this a lot of times. It's just road ditches. Someone pops a cigarette outside their window and it causes that, or someone burning their winter's brush out of their yard and it gets out of hand. That happens often. So it's just something that we also maintain and also take. So we have a couple other rigs that are 4-wheel drive that can carry water to these locations. We also do ice rescue. We have members on our department that are state certified ice rescue technicians. They come back to train us and train other people. And I kind of like these photos because we're like Jackie Chan. We do our own stunts. So we actually get in the water often enough in the wintertime. And it's weird. I was going through all these photos. I'm like, man, it seems like we only do ice rescue at night. But we train at Monday at 7 p.m. at the fire station. In the wintertime, when you have ice, it's night out. So we're training at night a lot of times and helping people out if they do fall through the ice fishing or recreating out there, that we're able to rescue with them. It's been a really good translation from ice rescue to like a swift water rescue situation, which, knock on wood, we have had a fair amount in the town of Shelby with the floods that we've had on the south side of La Crosse. It seems like every year, I think, were you on?
I was on the last 2 years, we had calls in August where just torrential downpour rains caused a lot of flooding on the south side, out like at the bottom of 10 Mile Hill area-ish, where we had to, one trailer court had like 11 mobile homes where the people couldn't get out and the water was raging really fast. So we had to use our water rescue suits and our inflatable boats to had ropes around us to walk out to their homes to get them and their dogs out until the water receded, so.
So it is, right now, we're working on getting a grant to get, like, these suits will work, but they're not exactly designed for swift water rescue. They're kind of they can get punctured pretty easily. The suits for swift water rescue are a little bit more durable. So we're writing a grant with actually, she just, as we're sitting over there, she was checking her email, we're supposed to hear back soon about our swift water rescue grant, but that is something we've done. One night we did 4 rescues when we ventured into Vernon County. That's another thing.
Oh, yeah.
That night where we ran one truck in my pickup truck and rescued 4 people out of their house.
Yeah, it was crazy.
It's a longer story, but that we have time for. Maybe afterwards I can bring that up. We also do high angle rescue situations up on the bluff. We have a lot of the Mississippi Valley Conservancy land people hiking up there, get stuck, get hurt, fall down. So we're able to rescue. It's a low frequency, high risk situation that we get to feel ourselves into. We do a lot of our just training in the station. The knots that we use inside the station are going to be the same knots we use out in the woods, but we do get out in the woods every once in a while to practice on that, because that blends into a whole different situation of, can we use this tree or should we use this tree? Is the pitch of the hill warranted for this amount of rope that we're using? And also we have to carry all that stuff in with us and carry it all out after we're done. So it can be also very physically taxing on this, but again, it's been pretty low frequency situation that we've had.
Do you guys go to like Bliss Road and the bluff?
Mhm. It depends on which side of the hill it's on. The front of Granddad's Bluff is city.
So like if someone fell like from the trails up there. What about the truck that drove off?
That was city.
That was city.
Yeah. We'll get in at the last slide. I'll start talking about our mutual aid agreements that we have with the city and the town and different townships. We'll get into that situation. Sometimes it's as minute as which side of the road.
Or they'll just call both of us. We'll both go out and figure out what's going on.
Yeah, that also happens too. So, good question. Thank you. We also cover water rescue. Like we said before, down by Goose Island, we cover that area too. I'm happy to report this is a brand new boat we picked up in February. It's a 20-foot tracker with a 115 Merc on it. And we've had it out a couple times going through the break-in period with the motor, and have 100% fundraiser funds bought that boat. Kate was really instrumental in doing a camper raffle back in 2020. And we raised quite a bit of money, and we were able to buy that boat, and it's a very, really nice boat. I kind of want my wife to but it's very nice, works really well. The boat we had previous worked, but it wasn't necessarily the best thing to use just because it's small. So we got a little bit bigger boat, and we're able to respond to those calls out on the river. But we also do a lot of community engagement, volunteering within the community on a non-emergency type setting. We do situations on the left here. We used to work the rodeo when it came into town. So it was always really kind of fun for us we got the best seat in the house. And we got to watch them and talk to the bull riders. It was really kind of neat. So we got to have opportunity to do that. We also go to the schools in the town of Shelby. We don't actually have any current schools. We do the Lutheran school on Main Street, Losey Boulevard. We go to that school. We go to Toddlin up at St. Joseph's Ridge. But we do that the last couple of years. Obviously, we haven't been able to actually physically get into the schools, but it is something we've done virtual tours of our fire station. That's what's been a lot of fun. On the left here, we do trick or treating every year. So guys will get together, we'll get some candy, light a campfire, and hang out, and watch kids come by and give them treats. On the right here, the advent now has been fire truck drive-bys for kids' birthdays, and we stop. So if you live on the south side of La Crosse and you want a fire truck, if I can get 4 people, you're getting a fire truck. So
We did a lot during COVID.
Yeah.
A lot.
It was fun, and honestly, like, guys get used to driving truck. We can use it as training. It's fun to do. We always get, like, kids are the coolest thing in the world. They're just so happy to see a fire truck, and we're like, another fire truck. So it is kind of fun that we get to do that. Again, going to the schools, we do have.
It's fine. There's no juice.
Okay, on the right hand side, we did do waffle breakfast as a fundraiser. We would have a community day kind of behind the fire station where we had the dive rescue team. La Crosse Fire was there, La Crosse County Sheriff's Department, Stoddard Fire Department, and we'd have just come in, advertise your department and your team, and they'd have something big castle really with a bounce house that's in the shape of a fire station. So we kind of had like a community event going on in the back there, and that's always been successful over the years. Now we get into the big fundraising thing that we do that's within the community, and it is the chicken coop. It's our
Apparently
largest.
Marissa really likes it.
Yeah. It's our largest fundraiser that we have every year. We've been able to have it for 55. Next year will be 55 years. We just got done with it. It's always the Sunday closest to St. Patrick's Day. Every single year. So you give me a calendar from 2034, I will pick the day of the chicken queue. I know it. And it's always a lot of fun. It's a lot of work. So I mean, it's always a good time. The good times kind of end around 11, 12 o'clock in the afternoon because we've been there at about 3:34 in the morning as we start the chickens. And Kate and I have cooked a lot of chicken meals together.
We usually sell like 3,500 to 4,000 chicken dinners, and that it's our major, fundraiser. Obviously, the town subsidizes a large portion of our budget, but this is a big portion.
You guys make it all. Like, you're not
Yep.
gonna cater.
We don't
make it
cater.
all.
That's why it's the best one.
We make it. That's our sweat dripping on. No, it tastes good. It's really good chicken. But again, I tell everybody, and we're all volunteers. We all put in extra effort, extra training, extra time away from our families to do this, but it's not all work. We do get to experience some fun stuff. We get to come to places like this and talk to you guys. I get excited about this. I love doing this kind of stuff. But I also get to get carted around by Dan Kapanke at a Loggers game. I got into Loggers game. It was sweet. It was fun. I had a good time. We also get to work, or did when they had it, was Freedom Fest. I had the opportunity of standing backstage with Leonard Skinner when they were there, and it was a lot of fun. And I had, again, the best seat in the house with Leonard Skinner. Couldn't hear a thing. You guys don't realize if you stand behind the speakers, it's dead silent. You can't hear a thing of what they're saying. You know Sweet Home Alabama's going on, but you have no clue what part of the song they're in. So it was a lot of fun. As Kate mentioned, when they're at last week or the week before?
2 weeks ago, I was in Indianapolis with our assistant chief and our captain for FTIC, which is the big International Firefighters Conference. So you can go and take a lot of classes, and you can visit with a lot of vendors, and usually the vendors are having deals, and that's the thing you go to every year to kind of like learn about the new things. Coolest thing I ever saw there. Well, the picture on the left is right before they did the stair climb. So they did the 9/11 stair climb, and we had
In the Lucas Oil Stadium.
yeah, that's in the where the Colts play. So they have a robot that has a drone on top of it now that can go into fires and stuff. Yeah, right. I asked to buy one and he turned me down. Yeah. The guy was like,
It's a lot of chicken.
yeah, right? The guy was like controlling it or whatever. I was like, I saw a video or heard that they like take a shot, so you can like kick it and it'll like right itself. It looks like a dog, right? And he's like, well, yeah. And I was like, so can I kick it? Well, let me take the drone off first. I'm like, that's not. But yeah, no, cool. I mean, it's literally like 100,000 firefighters in Indianapolis
The
checking out.
safest Indianapolis will ever
Yes.
be, and the most dangerous at the same time.
Yeah, no, good times.
Kind of probably the driving force to having us here is, you know, the fire that we had in downtown La Crosse here a couple of weeks ago. You know, we'll kind of get into how that works and how we have mutual aid, but ultimately for larger calls, less than 1% of our calls is going to require more manpower than what we can get at that particular time of the day. Again, we have people that are working, we have kids in sports, you know, have young kids, and our spouse is working late, so we can't leave a 3-year-old at home while we go respond. So we're kind of stuck. So mutual aid is a device that we've used in La Crosse County for a long, long time. It's not something new. That we've used to rely on and get help from additional fire departments in the area. Hey guys, we're a little short today. Can you send an engine company over to our call and help us out for a couple hours? And honestly, I always look at mutual aid calls as the best calls to go on, because we get to do all the work and we don't have to do any of the cleanup. We don't have to clean hose, because the length of time we're on a call, it's that length of time back at the station cleaning everything up. And we're like children, we don't like cleaning anything up.
We like making a mess.
We like making a mess, but we don't like cleaning anything up. But there's just some photos of us backfilling Station 3 of the city of La Crosse. And again, on the right, this is, there's a photographer down at that fire at the Indian Curry restaurant that was a couple weeks ago. So I was able to post this photo. And you know, what ended up happening on that day was we got called out to run city of La Crosse calls for the south side of La Crosse. Hey guys, can you staff your station and run calls for us? Sure, not a problem. We get down there, get a couple guys on engine. I call into dispatch and say, hey, we're set to go. 10 minutes after the call, we're set to go, ready to go run calls. I get the call, they want you at the scene. So we end up going into the scene, and I'm like, I know it's on 4th Street. We turn the corner going north on 4th Street. It's probably where all those fire trucks are. So we end up going up there, and you know, it worked out really well. Me and 2 other guys, you see that's me in the white helmet. You know, it worked out really well. Unfortunately for us and for the job and the safety of the job, we were able to help the city of La Crosse out and do what they asked of us. Unfortunately, the buildings around that area sustained a lot of damage. And, you know, unfortunately, those older buildings are really hard to extinguish. There's a lot of big walls, big timber, and a lot of heavy contents in those buildings that unfortunately there was a lot of fire that we weren't able to overcome right away with the amount of water we were putting on it. We got it under control, but it is kind of a testament to the relationships that, you know, we've built over the years with other fire departments in the area, where we're able to kind of weld together our tactics, their tactics, and be able to work together in a fairly quick manner. I mean, there wasn't a whole lot of direction. It was, where do you want us? You're with Quint 1. They're on the A side. Okay, and I left and walked off, and I never talked to command again. I was working with a couple of the guys from La Crosse on there, and our crew worked pretty well together. There's other mutual aid agreements that we have. Wisconsin Mutual Aid Box Alarm System, MABUS as we call it. If you hear about it in the news, where I can call, if we had a call up on Highway 33 where we were light staffed, the call was just more than what we could handle with, you know, our people that are on, I can call, you know, dispatch to say, can you give us box 4-21 to the second alarm level for, you know, for this call, have them stage at this address. I can get, with that one sentence, I'm getting 20 apparatus. And it works really well. They're predetermined cards that dispatch will pull out and be like, oh, Tony wants, you know, this 4 tenders from Stoddard, West Salem, Coon Valley. He wants a ladder truck from La Crosse and an engine from Stoddard, or from wherever. And it works out really, really slick for those larger, infrequent calls that we have. So it is a lot of fun, you know, and we kind of come up here, and the last thing that I'll leave you guys with is, you know, we're all of us don't sleep at the station, contrary to a lot of the tours I've done over the years. They're like, where do you guys sleep? Home with my wife. And they're like, you don't stay here? Sometimes feels like it, but I don't. You know, we're responding from our own homes. We do get paid a little bit of a stipend as we're working on here, but again, it's not something you're gonna like lose you know, you're not gonna be able to raise.
We
a
all
family.
have full-time jobs.
We all have
outside of
full-time
this.
jobs. So it's a lot of fun. You know, if you are in the area and want to swing by and you see trucks, swing by and say hi at the station.
Yeah,
We
bring your
love getting
kids
visitors.
too.
Bring your
Yeah,
kids. We will roll out the red carpet because honestly, we love doing that kind of stuff for kids and for adults too. So if you're in the area on the Sunday closest to St. Patrick's Day and you're really, really hungry, you can buy like 400 or 500 chicken dinners. Because it works out great. But thank you guys for having us. Appreciate it. You know, you guys, you know, I've been following you guys a lot, just with some of my friends that have been on this organization. You guys do a lot of good work for the community. Thank you very much. You guys do great. Otherwise, if you have anything else.
No.
Okay.
Questions?
Yes.
In regards, like when you talk about your connection with Dr. Eberline,
Yeah.
I immediately thought about the increase in prevalence of overdoses in the community
Yeah.
and larger. So is that, can you say anything about your training in Narcan or anything?
Yeah, so Dr. Eberline is in charge of the opiate grant that is within La Crosse County. So my full-time job, I'm a social worker for La Crosse County. So I work with Dr. Eberline, there you go. I work with Dr. Eberline through La Crosse County, but also through, so Dr. Eberline has got us all Narcan. So we have Narcan in our kits, we have Narcan training. I think I have 10 home-based first responders that carry Narcan in their bag. We've had a lot of Narcan calls, right? We've also had to have conversations with our first responders about fentanyl being in our area, and even fentanyl is a minuscule amount. There's carfentanil that's now coming out too in our community. That's like a granular piece of it can cause an overdose. So there's a lot of things like that we're continually having to talk about with our responders in using law enforcement to help us, you know, making sure we have all the correct PPE for that stuff.
Thanks.
Yeah.
What are some of the unique challenges you guys have in the volunteer?
I would say availability. You know, we have people, we'll take like City of La Crosse Fire. Everybody looks like me. I know most of them all they just look like me, right? They've all done this, they've all gone to college to get educated to be able to be a full-time firefighter. What makes us unique is we have Kate, who's a social worker for full-time. So when we have social worker questions, everything goes to Kate. She takes care of it, because that's what she does for a day job. We have electrical engineers, we have plumbers, we have farmers, we have business owners. So we can use some of their like full-time skills on our volunteer fire
It's
department.
really
We
nice,
have
honestly. Yeah.
I almost kind of want to hire a massage therapist. So if any of you guys are massage therapists, because I'm telling you, I had an air pack on for 6 hours that day. My back was tired. But some of the other challenges is making sure we have enough people to respond. Like I said, it's a challenge to get up in the middle of the night for a call when it's cold, and then to be able to get a good night's sleep because you still got to work your full-time job the next day. That's a challenge. Making sure that you have enough availability to be able to respond and to take on all the trainings that we and the state requires. It's a definite challenge to ourselves, to our families that we're, you know, not with all the time that we have to go away from. I don't know how many dinners I've left in the middle of, or parties or kids' sporting events where I've left in the middle of.
I tend to leave people in the middle of the grocery store.
Yeah, middle of the grocery store is 1, 2, you name it, we've left in the middle of it. So, but I mean, like, those are just some of the things that we come across, but, you know, we have a very dedicated group of people that all get along really well. We have a lot of fun doing it. We have a really good culture at the fire department, and it's a lot of fun. They're all my best friends.
I always said, like, there'll be calls, you'll be driving back at like 3 o'clock in the morning, and you're just like laughing, like joking around. I'm like, I can never imagine joking around with people at 3 o'clock in the morning, sober, in a truck, driving down the road, you know, like.
Thank you for that. So
Yes, it's just
too much paper.
extremely fun group of people. It's probably much like your group of people here, right? we just have so much fun. And a lot of times after calls, we're like in the classroom, someone's doing the paperwork, and we're just sitting around talking, and then all of a sudden you're like, I need to get home. Like, you almost need to like cut it.
What happens like when you're on a fire like that goes into the next day? Do you have to have like full-time, like people that are employed full-time? Does your employer have to be on board of you calling out?
We all have some very understanding employers where like when we had that flooding, it's 8 o'clock in the morning and I'm on the phone with my boss, like, I've been out since like 8 o'clock the night before. And actually, we were stuck in Chaseburg. We were flooded in the middle of Chaseburg. I'm like, what do you need me to do? She's like, don't worry about here. Like, just go deal with it. So
It's definitely a blessing. That day, there was one text to my boss, hey, I won't be in, check the news. And I got a thumbs up. After I got done, I called and she's like, I got home at like 2, 3 o'clock. I get 2 more minutes coming, I'm exhausted. All right. So yeah, to answer your question, we have very understanding locations where we work at. We have very understanding spouses. And we end up having, a lot of times you might need on a call, we might have to run people back or do a second page out for more people as people are getting off of work and swapping out groups if it goes that long, or start to go like to a shift or anything like that, where people can come in at 3 o'clock and other people can leave if we have something that goes on.
We have time for one more question.
Sorry, do you guys build pools up on top of Granddad's Bluff in that, like, come up?
So here's my pool filling speech, and I'll make it short. You do not want to use the water in that. It's not. It's like basically river water.
yeah,
Hydrant water is not good, like to drink out of, or to swim in. So ask the city, because city water out of those hydrants, oh my God, I would drink that stuff. But Shelby hydrants,
it's brown.
It's brown.
It's very.
And she has a pool.
And yeah. No,
So
I use my hose.
If you have a well.
True. Yeah, sorry. You wouldn't want it.
Tony and Kate, and on behalf of Rotary After Hours, I want to thank you guys. What you do in our community is so very important. The work that you guys have put into training yourselves and how you train other people in the community is such a big deal. As a club, if we ever have the opportunity to work together and send them a suicide video.
Thank you guys for having us. We don't often get to come out, and usually we're talking to kids, so, but.
we could be a little more loosey-goosey.
Yeah, I mean, we can talk for hours on the fun stuff and the different calls and whatever we do, so, yeah, we appreciate the opportunity to actually come out and talk to adults.
Thank you very much. We appreciate it. And so we'll close up here for the night. Our next Rotary meeting is going to be May 26th. And for Brave Spaces Counseling and Wellness. So next slide, let's do the 5-day test. We'll go ahead and is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned?
Will be beneficial to all concerned. Is it possible?
Thank you all. And Lisa, if you wouldn't mind dinging the bell, I'd appreciate it.
So, when are you moving?
The end of May, like May 27th, something like that. Yeah, it's been like
I love it. Where are you going? What are you doing?
So I'm living with 2 women.
Everybody, it's okay.